Wow, last week was an absolute stinker, but we're gonna make a bounce back for UFC Fight Night Vancouver. First fight tonight is gonna come in the bantamweight division. We got Melissa Cronin set to face off against Tainara Lisboa. I like the side of Tainara here. I think she's a much better striker. Melissa Cronin, she's gonna want to get the fight down to the ground and use her grappling prowess to get the victory. But I think Tainara manages to stuff all the takedowns, keep the fight standing, and get the better of her in the striking to win a unanimous decision. Next up, we're going to the middleweights where we have Azamat Bakoyev set to face off against Yusri Belgaroui. I like the side of Azamat. I think he packs so much power in those hands. I think he clips the skyscraper of a man and puts him down. At that point, he can choose whether he wants to ground and pound him into victory or win by submission. I had the side of Azamat to win under 2.5. Those odds basically double your money, depending on what time you take it. So give me Azamat Bakoyev to win under 2.5 as a bet. I think he wins by KO. Next up, we're going to the strawweights where we have Stephanie Luciano set to face off against Ravina Oliveira. I think Stephanie Luciano is a much more polished striker, and I think she wins by unanimous decision. She has good enough takedown defense to stop anything that Ravina wants to throw at her, and she's a much better striker in my opinion. Stephanie Luciano to win by decision, no bet on the fight. Next up, we're going to the lightweights where we have Kyle Propolek set to face off against Drew Dober. I think the odds reflects this quite accurately. I think Drew Dober packs too much power in his hands for a guy like Kyle Propolek. Kyle did look okay against Benoit Saint-Denis, and that performance is aging quite nicely, but when he gets into exchanges with a guy like Drew Dober, Drew has got a chin on him, so Kyle's not going to be able to crack him, and the power that's going to be coming back his way, I don't think he's going to be able to survive, so give me Drew Dober to win by KO. Next up, we're going to the middleweights where we have Danny Barlow set to face off against Jordan Santos, and I like the side of Danny Barlow. Moving up a weight class from the 170-pound division, but his left hand could put absolutely anyone out. Jordan, he looked terrible in his UFC debut against Ozzy Diaz. Ozzy Diaz, in my opinion, is not UFC caliber. Danny Barlow definitely is with that left hand. Danny Barlow puts him out. The bet for this one is going to be Danny Barlow to win under 2.5. Next up, we're going to the flyweights where we have Bruno Silva set to face off against Hyun Sung Park. Bruno Silva, he is quite durable, and Hyun Sung Park, he looked absolutely terrible in his fight against Tatsuro Taira. Here's the thing, Tatsuro Taira is much higher level than a guy like Bruno Silva. I like the side of Hyun Sung Park. I think he's a favorite for a reason. I think his striking is much better. I think the power is going to be too much for a guy like Bruno Silva, but I think Bruno is durable enough to survive the 3 rounds. I think Hyun Sung Park wins by decision. Next up, we're going to the bantamweights where we have Charles Jourdain set to face off against Davy Grant. This one is quite a difficult one to pick. I think Charles Jourdain is going to look to smother a guy like Davy Grant, trying to look to take the fight down to the ground and control him. But Davy Grant is a guy who's very hard to take down. And I think Davy Grant keeps the fight standing and gets the better of the striking exchanges. In a very close fight, I think Davy Grant wins by decision. Next up, we're going to the lightweight division where we have Kyle Nelson set to face off against Matt Favola. I don't like this one for Matt. I think Kyle Nelson is a better striker overall. I think Matt relies quite heavily on that one-hitter quarter power, and I don't think he lands that shot against a guy like Kyle Nelson. Kyle Nelson did lose by KO to a guy like Steve Garcia, but Steve Garcia just manages to land that shot on just anybody he wants. Matt Favola is not that technical. He's not as good as Steve Garcia in my opinion, so I definitely see Kyle Nelson getting the better of him in the striking exchanges and winning a unanimous decision. Next up, we're going to the bantamweights yet again where we have Cody Gibson set to face off against Iori Kilang. And this one is a tough one, and you should definitely stay away from it in terms of betting. I think Cody Gibson is a huge bantamweight, and he's going to use that size to his advantage, push Iori Kilang up to the fence, try to take him down and get the better of him. I think Cody Gibson wins by unanimous decision, but again, stay away from it with your money. Next up, we're going to the female flyweight division where we have Manon Fiorot set to face off against Jasmine Jazz the Vicious. Jasmine has been looking really good as of late. The way she put Jessica Andrade away, she made it look like she had no business being in there with her. And that's a champion we're talking about. But Manon Fiorot, she's a different beast. She's so tough to take down, so tough to control, and such a great striker. I think she keeps the fight standing and wins a unanimous decision. A lot of decisions in this card, but Jasmine, she's not going to get that wrestling off. And if the fight stays standing, it's going to be a really hard out for her, especially against a striker as good as Manon Fiorot. Next up, we're going to the bantamweight division where we have Marlon Chito Vera set to face off against Ayman Zahabi. And I like the side of the underdog here, placing a bet on Marlon Vera to get the job done. I think he can start off a little bit faster against a guy like Ayman Zahabi because Ayman doesn't have that KO power. He definitely doesn't have the power that Marlon Vera is going to respect to back him up. So Marlon, if he can get off to a hot start, he's going to have the time of his life in this fight. Ayman, he's a smart guy. He's going to be able to do things to win rounds. So this fight is going to be very heavily dependent on whether Marlon Chito Vera starts off heavy or not. I don't think Marlon's going to be able to put him away. Ayman has proven to be durable, but I think Marlon lands the harder shots. I don't think he lands as often, but the power is going to be going his way, and he gets the job done by decision. Now, on to the co-main event of the evening. At the welterweight division, we have Mike Malott set to face off against Kevin, the Trailblazer Holland. I like the side of the underdog here. I like the side of Kevin Holland. He has proven to be a very hard guy to bet on. He's also proven to be a very hard guy to bet against. He is a guy that loses mainly to technical strikers or really talented grapplers. And Mike Malott, in my opinion, is neither of them. Mike Malott, he relies heavily on that power in his hands, but I don't think he manages to land a KO blow on Kevin Holland. Kevin Holland has proven to be very, very durable. If Mike goes to the grappling route, Kevin Holland has proven to have the ability to survive against good high-level grapplers. If this fight stays standing, I think Mike gasses out. I think he manages to get the better of him in the early exchanges, but as the fight goes on, I think it wears down too much on his gas tank, and Kevin Holland just picks it up and puts him out. When Mike Malott loses, he loses by KO. Kevin Holland's gonna put it on him and get the victory by finish. Placing a bet on Kevin Holland. Don't let me down, brother. Next up, we're going to the main event of the evening where we have Reinier de Ridder set to face off against Brendan Alden Allen. I like the side of Reinier de Ridder here. I think Brendan Allen is a good fighter, but he's not as great as people say. If you look at his resume, who are the best fighters that he has beaten? Not really much. Reinier de Ridder, he's beaten guys like Robert Whittaker. I mean, Bo Nickel, he's not a great fighter, but he was on the come up, and Reinier de Ridder derailed that hype train completely. We haven't seen Bo Nickel since. Reinier, he has a weird fight style. If he gets a fight down to the ground, he is definitely a problem, but that funky striking can catch anyone off guard, and I think it does to Brendan Allen. Those knees are going to be a problem. I think Brendan's going to have the better of him in the start of the fight, but that gas tank of Reinier de Ridder is going to kick in. That durability is definitely going to show, and then he's going to wear on Brendan Allen as the fight goes on, and I think he wins a decision. Placing a bet on Reinier de Ridder to win over 1.5 rounds. And that has been my picks and predictions for UFC Fight Night Vancouver, de Ridder versus Allen. Be sure to leave a like. Let me know what you think about the picks and the predictions down below. Subscribe, follow me on TikTok, follow me on Twitter, support the channel on the Patreon, and I'll catch you in the next one. Until then, game time.